All right, game of the day 27. Today, we're showing off a really silly build. It's a gimmick, and it's a dumb build. It's definitely not meta. It's got way too low pressure and way too low sustain compared to other Scourge counterparts. But I'm going to show off Dust Lich. So it's a really fun concept that utilizes some aspects of Necro we don't see very much. Kind of reliant on New Balance. So the idea here is being a power Scourge. So a lot of people play power Scourge as kind of this big bursty thing where you pour in very quickly with Sand Swell and you choose to, unleash as much damage as possible. And that's mostly what it's been known as in the past, but there are some fun, weird interactions. Like, for example, if you're a Lich form wielding Scourge, which is mostly a power-oriented thing, so you didn't see it much, this is the only variety of Necromancer that can actually go in Shroud, in Lich. So here we're actually, getting the wombo combo of the precision attribute buffs from the Lich and whatnot, while also protecting ourselves with barrier and stuff in shade. We get an extra fear access, we get extra corrupt access. You can do any of your F abilities while here in the Lich. So that's thing number one. That's really kind of cool and is an idea. Lich form's cooldown was just dropped down. The other weird thing is, obviously, if you're power, you're likely to be spite. So let's take a look at the much maligned Grandmaster spite Signets of Suffering over here. So this has improved signets, which we don't care about. Gain the benefit of signets in Shroud, which we also kind of don't care about as a Scourge because you get that anyway. But signets recharge every second that you're in Shroud. So when you're a Reaper, you kind of burst through Shroud very quickly. When you're a core Necro, Shroud is a defensive utility for you in a big way and will drain. As a Scourge, if I choose to go into Shroud, I cannot be kicked out of that. If I go Shroud, I get the full 6 seconds of Shroud no matter what. And Signets of Suffering actually reduces cooldown of Signets with by percentage. So here we've got Signet of Undeath. It's an AoE res. We all know from Signet of Mercy and whatnot how strong that kind of stuff is. An AoE res, but on an immense cooldown of 90 seconds. Well, as a Power Scourge, if I go into Shrouds, we're down to 60 seconds, 54, 47, 39. And by the time our Shroud ends, basically every time you Shroud, you're going to get a mass AoE res back every time. And so that's the other fun part of the build, really. You can consistently Signet of Undeath. Unlike with other Necros, where the cooldown of this might be fixed, but you're stuck in your Shroud at the moment, and you want to get more value. For Scourge, I can activate this whenever, Like, I got the cooldown refund instantly there after the first second of being in Shroud, and I can recast straight away, yeah? So, to look at the sigils, what I've currently got going on is Agility on Staff, which is weird. You'd expect that on Axe, but Axe is your main pressure set here. And what you do is you try and not go to Staff as much as possible, so that as soon as someone dies, and here's another thing Scourge can do easily that other Necro can't. You can stab yourself, weapon swap for quickness. You get a stability, quickness, res. And it's really not actually that bad to trigger a lot of the time on the back of a Dust Lich. So there you go. That's the build. It's really exciting, isn't it? It's silly, but I'm a fan of the idea. And ever since Scourge was announced, I wanted to do a Dust Lich. Well, here we go. Let's see how the games have been going. Okay, so compositionally, as we come out on Legacy here, I don't really like the team very much. We have 3 side noders on a notorious map for, like, big team fights and engagements, really. So it's a bit ugly, the side noders being, the Weaver, the Soul Beast, and the Spellbreaker. Also, I don't have a support, and this is one of those builds that really sucks without a support. Luckily, it's extremely low rated. My forays into terrible builds like Malik's Rev and Mystic Rebuke Firebrand and stuff recently has regularly left me at extremely low rating. So maybe it's not the worst thing in the world, but I don't really like our comp, to tell you the truth. And of all of our side noders, we send the Thief to close. I mean, it's kind of clunky even if he was here, but whatever. So, yeah, we're looking at mid and seeing what we've got. There's obviously a Firebrand back there. One of my targets has pinged it. Like, they have a Scourge and a Firebrand as a support, which is, hilarious compared to what we're playing with here. So, anyway, I swap target over to the Firebrand here. I don't estimate that they'll actually kite together that well. Anyway, so we're taking our pressure. What am I doing? Well, the other thing about Signet of Undeath, by the way, the super quick cooldowns are also beneficial in giving you the passive back. And the passive is brilliant for Life Force generation. You're probably looking at this thinking, where's your Life Force WP? And you actually do get a ton from the Signet, which helps me to not have to be on staff too much. What I'll do is engage with staff, throw some marks out, get some life force, and, you know, deliver the stuff. But then you kind of don't want to be on staff for a while because you want that sigil of agility on demand. So we end up camping a lot of Axe, where Reapers would then supplement that with a really good Reaper's Shroud, you know, which is unquestionably better than what I'm doing here. We're going to mostly just be taking Axe pressure as much as possible. So one thing you got to remember, I'm running this on Greater Sansfont. There's actually 2 variants as far as I care. One would be Small Shade. You can run Feast from Corruption on a Power Scourge, and it might be a really good idea. I'm running big marks, especially on this map. I think it's a good idea. Big Shades, sorry. And yeah, so you see how I cast this one over here, and I'm here as well. One thing that's really fun about Scourge, and I wish I was better at, if I played it more, if I mained it, I would think about so much more, is like knowing that you're not doubling up. I never want to overlap with my shade. I want the shade somewhere meaningful, and I want me somewhere meaningful, and I don't want to overlap with them so I get double the coverage kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, so we're pressuring, it's going pretty good. So we get it down here. And so our Soul Beast scored a kill on an enemy Berserker, and we get the Scourge. Obviously, I've had no pressure, so this is really nice. So I want to cleave that pretty hard. And Infinite Horizon Split Surge Mesmers on the wings here. So we just take some pressure over the body. They're getting stomped out perfectly fine. I thought I was going to Lich there. I guess I Lich now. So Lich is really OP as well, by the way. One other thing you can do is if you don't anticipate needing to res, which I don't here, you can swap to your staff with the Lich, so you have a quickness Lich. There's something about the way that quickness scales with Lich that feels really obscene and like more than normal. So here, check it out. We're gonna Lich on the enemy Scourge, right? And just watch how we get the quickness when we go in. We're in Shrouds. 1, 2, 3 autos and dead, like super quick. Now, normally the autos don't land anywhere near that fast. And then he rallies and we kill him again in Lich immediately afterwards. I think I'm being shot by a Deadeye. This might not go well in the end. But demonstrating that quickness there. Maybe it's because it speeds up the projectiles or whatever. But it is such a powerful thing. Back to our game on Legacy. This Lich is being countered by the Guardian holding his shield 5, which is a great idea. I go for the Fear Wave. It doesn't really help, but, you know, it just moves me down the ledge there. Maybe that could move you up the ledge. Lich does last a while, and, you know, I'm still banging for this, so we're moving forwards. The little blocks you're seeing here, he's managing to get away from the autos very well. The little blocks you're seeing are actually the skill 2, which applies Vuln and a bit of Cripple. As you can see, I managed to land one there. We still haven't landed an auto on this guy yet, and I'm still confident with it. There you go. We get 2, and we get the 3rd. And you'll notice, again, I managed to shed a tiny bit of Aegis before the auto. Again, that's because of the buffs, really. The skill 5 is really good as well. I don't think you're going to see a demonstration of that, really, in this video. Anyway, now a res comes in, so I shade over it. And I fear. Here's the funny thing. This guy's also using Signet of Undeath. Seriously, you can see he's got the active here. We just saw the icon pop. For some reason, the icon disappears, even though the cast is still going. So he's actually going to get his own Signet of Undeath, which is amazing to me. He's playing on Blood. Anyway, so we don't really have any pressure here. And okay, so the other thing was I pushed their enemy spawn, which is a bad idea generally, right? And we saw, in fact, the exact situation occurred, that we never managed to finish the kill, and now respawns are on us. So that's pretty bad, but I did push in knowing I can sand swell onto the ledge, and if any allies were with me, they could come too. I mean, I think it's a thief I have, so whatever, it's a daredevil. He's just going to peel out on his own. But yeah, so then we just pressure this. We come up to this spot, which is kind of nice. Take a quick axe 2. Plenty of life force to go around and get an easy kill on that Scourge with the supplementary damage from our friend. This warrior's longbow. I'm not sure what convincing longbow builds there are at the moment, but we're just going to pressure him. He's longbow berserker as well, eh? Right after they just nerfed Scorch Earth, so not sure what's going on there. Wasn't there some kind of change that might have buffed Condi warrior? Anyway, there's this down. We use more shade stuff, more crits. I think we're going to have a really interesting situation with this Firebrand later as well, by the way. So here we cleave this Firebrand down. This is going to become a big situation here now because I don't stomp that straight away. Oh, no, it's later. So I come for a quick plus here. We got 2 cap, and it seems like a smart enough play for me right now with enemies dying. So I come in, take a bit of pressure. This guy's dodging very slowly. He's not getting off the node. We get a good fear there in his heal. And so, yeah, he's dead. to be honest, it probably wasn't a good idea me rotating there as I did. This Ranger is pet rezzing, so we pressure with the axe. Not much to say. I'm very, very liberal with my Shroud as well, you'll see, right? Like I used there, but we're back up to 100 very quickly. No res opportunities. Oh, yeah, so I'm very keenly aware that I've not rezzed yet, and rezzing is one of the fun things of the build. And so here I see that I have a very low ally, and what I want to do is res this guy, and the entirety of what I'm thinking right now is this guy should kite into the team. He's about to make the mistake that I make so often, which is when you're trying to survive, you just kind of tunnel vision and you don't think about your team enough. So all he has to do is die on node or kite towards us, kite back towards our AFK warrior over towards close or something. I get that we have an Ellie on the other side, but he's moving away from us. And so what I'm actually resigned right now to the fact that he's going to die and I'm not going to be able to res it because I don't quite have the mobility. Sure, we could sand swell up, but it's just kind of a crazy idea. One play you can make, I showed this on the stream, is you can sand swell forwards, Signal of Undeath, port back during the cast, and then go back, and I think it'll still work. It's kind of a cool thought. You can, like, shadow step res on this build. It's all gimmicks, though, and completely unviable. Let me just be clear. So, yeah, now he's dead over there, and I think that's what I'm watching more than anything else, because this is a free kill, this Scourge. There's nothing really to think about in that. So, yeah, with that death, we will get a bit of counter snowball. There's the rally. Oh, yeah, and I saw the rally. I was like, of course that's going to rally. And we put that down. Now, this guy's getting, like, aggressed by a lot, so, again, I want to go for a res. So, the idea here is actually there's two plays. One is to res. Two is... and both come off of a sandswell. The other is I offer this guy an escape with the sandswell. We're not in comms or anything. He does turn to face me. He can come into this and peel out. And I'm not going to stay. Once this dissipates, I'm going to leave through it. I don't want to stay here in this outnumbered engagement. Or at least I think so, right? Yeah, like I never wanted to commit to that. So he doesn't come through. And now you see he's leaving. He could have left a lot earlier than he did in the end. And this is going to be pretty hard now because we've blown cooldowns right before this mid starts. I give him Peels versus the Mesmer. Good example of the pressure there of this build. And we get this down on the Mesmer. Here we go. So this is the big moment on the stairs. We have several players in the area. We've got a Thief trying to stomp something. We've got a Ranger capping the node. So they are both occupied. But we really need this stomp. A Stealth's come in. It's being rezzed. And there's a Firebrand supporting the area. So I can Lich, right? This is like the Lich stream, isn't it? Because I can't Shroud because I just Shrouded earlier. So I can't Shroud Lich, sadly. But I can auto. And you notice I'm not quite hitting the body. I don't know what's going on. They do cleave. So the idea of Lich is you stand on a body and you attack away from it. And so you're hitting whoever you like while also cleaving the body. And that's why I'm trying to stand on it very clearly. But I am getting slowly pressured down here. Like, look at this. It's just not landing quite right. You know, I am essentially bundled in with 3 other players, getting very low. And now the chill hits. So what I want to do is I want to Shroud. But I get chilled and it slows the Shroud down. Just so I can only finally... And I'm down. Now my team starts coming up, but it's not good. I actually got killed by the Rogue in downstate there. And we are still pressuring, but they're glancing blows and stuff. And like, you know, there was only so much I can do. This isn't actually... The thing is with this build... It's not got the pressure. If I was a regular Scourge there, just to be clear, I probably could have cleaved very well if there was a Ghastly Breach instead of a Lich form and stuff. It's a good demonstration as to why this build's a bit of a gimmick and a fun flavor idea more than anything else. Also, I found it really interesting looking at my combat log. Look how much pressure there is from the enemy Firebrand. It's a ton of retail. These are like staff abilities, right? And he's going to be Menders, not anything else. Holy Strike, Burning... So yeah, and you'll see that in a while. I actually really kind of like the enemy team Firebrand for a play. You'll see an opportunity he realizes he has against my weird ass build in a minute. So anyway, we do have the double cap, and if I can get back, I can maybe counter this enemy advance, you know, that's really ever started ever since that push on far, that dud push on far. So I shade, I shroud, we kill a Mirage pretty quick with the axe pressure. We fear over it as well. We can take the Whale of Doom there as well. The body's pretty low. Maybe our Whale of Doom now. So you might be wondering why Warhorn as well. I have tried with Focus, and I have tried with Dagger off against a lot of Condi. Warhorn just feels best to me with the on-demand CC. And I don't know, the extra little pressure of the Locust, I guess, maybe. It's not too good on the current variant where I'm running Trail of Anguish as well. But anyway, so now we're dying. They got the reses. It's a lost mid, so I'm peeling out. Oh, there was a whole thing that happened that fight. Hold on. So, I've been watching that my Ellie is low, okay? Maybe the reason I don't Whale of Doom up here is because I'm thinking of this. We've got crazy res potential, right? And look, our Ellie just died. So, I want to res that. So, what do? I weapon swap, quickness. I give myself stability with the Trail of Anguish. I give myself Signet of Undeath. We are quick casting an AoE res, the AoE bit doesn't matter, onto this guy. We have this. This is going to be amazing, all right? It's such a solid play. However, you guys are thinking it, and I was certainly thinking it in the moment too. Please don't Vapor Form. Please don't Vapor Form. Please don't Vapor Form. Nobody's stomping you. There's no reason to press skill 2. Please don't Vapor Form. Please don't Vapor Form. Please, fuck! He Vapor Formed. Great. So now what will happen is when my Signet finishes, we're going to heal the Vapor Form instead of res him. And he's going to come right to my feet like, oh, please, please, Mr. Scourge, heal me, please. Ah! I suppose it's not meta, so I can't particularly blame him for not looking at the Signet animation above my head moments earlier, especially since it doesn't linger for long enough. So anyway, now I peel out. And that is actually, I wish I did a game where I think we've got some good cleaving kills here, and we've shown the Lich interaction. I'd love to get a good game of the day where I show lots of reses on the build as well. But I want to demonstrate as well, as I kite out, I pop Shroud, and look at our Signet. We just cast that just a second ago. It will be up the next big engagement. But I believed mid was lost, so I peeled out a bit. But my team's like still sort of around, and now I'm wondering if I made a mistake. And now I've peeled out. So here, check this out, right? This Firebrand comes towards me. This is a great demonstration of just how crap Power Scourge is. Like, the numbers aren't good enough on it. I wouldn't necessarily expect to kill a Firebrand super quick. But look at how well this guy just aggresses me. So we get some good damage, all right? He's kited away from the shade. And look, he uses his shield 4 very heavily, which is a good idea. He's getting the mace counter-attack, which is very good. He's just getting lots of hit. He doesn't give a crap, man. It's very good. And look, he's getting me lower. This is a game of attrition, and he will kill me. I will die to a support Firebrand here. Look at how low I get. And my team's on respawn. I can't do anything here. By the way, you might think it's useless that I'm here. I'm actually defending the side node. The Firebrand deciding to fight me is a bit silly because he could decap, right? If he knows he's got this matchup, he could decap. But instead he's choosing to fight me here, which is why I'm happy to hold it here for now. And I know that if I kite away, if he chooses to follow me for ages, he's actually throwing a node just to follow me, and I can put him into my team if I really want to. So, but look at this. Amazing. Pathetic in some ways. So here I stand swelled down. And what's really beautiful about this play is if he comes over the ledge looking to chase me, I can port back up. And because he's support, he will only have, like, merciful intervention. He won't have judges or anything, so I can be safe with that. So I turn around to see if he follows. He's smart enough not to follow, so I just run away. You know, I get a win condition no matter what I want to do. That does, of course, leave him at his leisure to take Waterfall now, which is what you will see he does. I want to note now as well I'm really low, so I have to get away. I could have waited for the combat break there, possibly. And I see that this is going on. This entire time I was towards mid, I wanted, like, allies. I wanted assistance. I wanted to fight mid properly. Just as I'm leaving, that Ellie that made the Vapor Form play has wandered in. And so I could theoretically support that, and I'm not seeing it. So this is a bit of a trash rotation from me. Because I could and should be at mid right now. This guy didn't need support, as you can see. They were already 2v1. Kind of hard to tell sometimes with the Mirages. And I had a little bit of perspective where all 5 of the enemy team were, given my interaction with the Firebrand. But yeah, so now I'm looking back towards mid, and I'm like, for Christ's sake, they've just wandered in there, and the Eddie's dead again. So I can't res that, and I'm too late to the party, and it's still just all a bit lame. Dodge over the enemy mark. Time to do some damage. Scourge is often an easy kill here. So what you can do is you can run Dread on this as well, by the way. Which means you get 33 and use it in the Axe too, right? It's so other forms of Necro, their Shroud Fear is in Shroud, right? So you don't get such an easy combo with Axe 2 while fearing someone unless you're doing it in the middle of Corrupts or you're dropping like the spectral ring and stuff, right? It's not so easily accessible. But on this build, you can run Dread Axe 2. So Axe 2 gets double value out of vulnerability. Dread applies 10 vulnerability, so you're already at a 20% modifier, plus the 33% from Dread itself. And you can do that very easily on a power Scourge. So that's kind of a nice idea. Any excuse to try Dread, which I know is pretty suboptimal for what it's worth. Anyway, so we get another down, another Lich from me here. Again, after I've shrouded, but we still get the other skills. Again, this is another thing you can do with Dread. You can use the Lich, you can use the Scourge Fear while autoing in Lich while getting Dread value. Yeah, you can get all three at once, which is a Scourge, a Dust Lich. There's a lot of nice fun ideas for synergies, aren't there? There really are. And here, look, we're getting good. This is Dust Lich in action. You're watching us cleave the body with our shroud. Look at that. We got, you know, about 5,000 damage over some of those bodies there, and I don't even know if we hit all the ticks. That's 3 kills. Lots of it coming from us. So with this, I think we will reclaim mid. I'm surprised that compositionally we've done as well as we have. Maybe it's got something to do with just the low-tier gameplay everywhere and builds, just the weird builds. You know, we are against a Longbow Berserker. Again, I'll remind you all. Is that the default PvP build? I find myself so often wondering that now. We can reclaim close here. So I'm in full rest mode right now. We've got 3 kills. We've got a side noder pushing towards far. So I'm just watching respawns. For the past, like, 7 or 8 seconds, I've just... If I was on a different build, a fast build, I'd be rotating and doing things. But for this, we're just watching respawns. So I come to the safe spot. Not that it really matters. And I'm just watching, you know, over close and mid at the enemy gate, and I can just see what's going on. Nice and comfortable. If they push the ledge, fine. So here we see, obviously, someone's getting on the node, so I sand swell over. I'm surprised, by the way, as well, if that looks clunky on my end, is because I was not expecting my 2 allies to ever in a million years have something like that happen. So anyway, here I see the Greatsword 4, and I go to counter it with a Ghastly Pillar, sorry, which might work. I don't know. I don't really know how well that... Maybe we just cleave the Phantasms out super fast there. We're now the focus. So what I think happened here is last team fight, we kind of did a lot with that Lich, and I think the enemy team sussed that they should focus me, which they haven't all game. Not really. The Firebrand has. So I've got to peel out, and I don't have any assistance from my team. So I've actually got 3 players on me at the moment. I do, sorry, I tell a lie. I have a bit of assistance. But I had 3 players chase me out with that kill, that death. This guy comes to res, so good job to this guy. And, you know, we are a power necro, so we get okay pressure in downstate, and we are going to score that kill there on the Mesmer. The Mesmer should quite rightly be a bit frustrated at his other 2 friends that helped secure the kill, but not the down. And now we can come back in. And the game's pretty much GG in our favor there, I think, at this point. We get another kill here with our Shade. Like here, what I should have done is I should have cast this, been confident at all of that, and walked into this guy, right? So I would have been getting Shroud damage here and Shroud damage here, split between me and my Shade. That's what I should have done. We go for the interrupt with the Whale of Doom. And we cleave that down. So there you go. I don't think you're going to see much Dust Lich game of the days. Just because... I mean, maybe if I find I get a dedicated support in a low-rated game, it might be fun to have a look at. But yeah, it's definitely a build that I wanted to show off, and a fun concept. If you guys like to play hot joins or unranked or just very casual ranked queues at mid gold or below, even high gold, to be honest, they're all trash tier queues. You can get away with it as you're watching here. And, you know, if it's the fun factor you're looking for, then go for it. So there you go, guys. Game of the day. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I think we got like 32% damage this game, though. I never captured the footage. I turned it off pretty quick. But yeah, cheers, everybody, and I will see you for more tomorrow.